I've had a little bit of a tidy up on the bench here, which was an absolute mess and disgrace actually, to be honest, and I'll be doing some more tidying on it as I go along. But I decided basically what I was going to do was make room for and uncover this early 50s Royal Enfield 350 G2 engine of my own, and just spend an hour or two on it, in view of the fact that it had only had 2 of the 5 cylinder barrel studs present. Well, I found another 3, so I thought, I know what I'll do, I'll put them in and the barrel can stay on then, and we're ready to sort of consider preparing and fitting a cylinder head. Now everything you see there has all been thoroughly gone over and rebuilt and is, or ought to be, pretty much as new. But I have a little bit of a problem. Now I've got a cylinder barrel stud here partially screwed into the crankcase, and I've got the cylinder barrel part way down on the studs, but it doesn't really want to go any further than that unless I brought out a mallet, but that's not really what I want to be doing. And it turns out that this cylinder barrel, I probably bought it new perhaps about 2 years ago or so. You see, even though I've had a cloth over it in the workshop, we've got a light little bit of rust there. I'll clean that up. I might even end up lapping that into whichever cylinder head I use to hold the compression there, because of things I'm about to talk about. But basically the cylinder barrel stud holes, these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, are alright, but this one is out of step. When it's screwed into the crankcase mouth, it doesn't really line up with the hole for it in the cylinder barrel, or should I say the hole for it in the cylinder barrel is not drilled quite correctly, not quite in the right position or angle, and that's causing me a problem. So I'm just going to lift the cylinder barrel a moment. Hopefully I can put that there and you can see what's going on. I'm going to lift it. I'm trying to talk loud. I know that there's a problem with some people not being able to hear me properly. I'll get this out. So I've got 4 left in. Right. Now it slid down freely and easily all the way to there. But it's not going past there because this hole here isn't quite drilled correctly. Now I can sort that out easily enough, that's not a problem, but if you can see, there's a fair bit out of step there with the stud sticking up from the crankcase, so I've got to deal with that. So alright, I could get the cylinder barrel down quite easily, touching down with 4 studs in, located tightly in the crankcase, but what I've got to do is somehow I've got to get it so that this one will also screw in. It won't even start really. It sort of bites a little, but it won't start in the threaded hole for it in the crankcase because this hole is out of step. Now another problem I've got is these cylinder barrel stud holes, as is always the case with 350 bullets, they're very, very close to the edge of the cylinder liner spigot. So if you want to use a head gasket to hold your compression, you've only got that little bit there between the spigot and the stud hole to hold compression. So I'm going to get a drill out and start trying to drill or re-drill this or enlarge the hole so that the stud will be able to go down through it and pick up the threads in the crankcase mouth. I risk losing a large proportion of what little space I've got for a gasket to seal against is there. There's not going to be a lot to play with, so I'm reluctant to do that, but I'm hoping that I might be able to put the drill in and sort of pull on it sideways a little perhaps, and just shift enough material so that the stud might be tilted over half a degree or so in it further than it can go now, if you see what I mean, and I might be able to just pick up the threads and screw into the crankcase. But if all else fails and I have to drill such a big hole that a head gasket couldn't really be relied on to hold the compression, well, I'm just going to have to lap the cylinder head into the liner spigot and hold the compression there, and then just use sealant just to deal with any potential oil leaks, but not hold the compression. But that was a bit of a spanner in the works. After probably nearly 2 years of not doing anything with this, I just thought that, right, I'll just do a little bit more today, because I'd found some cylinder barrel studs, and straight away I've hit a brick wall with it. So not terribly funny, but hopefully I'll be able to work around it and make a bit of progress with it in the near future. Bummer, as they say.